What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. The company General Finishes recently sent me a couple of their products for me to try out, so that's exactly what we're going to do in this week's video. Let's get started. So the two finishes that we're going to be testing today are General Finishes Wood Bowl Finish and General Finishes Armor Seal. These are both finishes that are very, very highly rated throughout the woodworker and wood turning communities. So we're going to go ahead and start with the General Finishes Wood Bowl Finish. So a few days ago, I went ahead and turned down this nice segmented cherry and walnut bowl, and we're going to go ahead and use this General Finishes Wood Bowl Finish to finish it. I've sanded it up to 1,000 grit paper, which is plenty for what we're doing, and it's about 45 degrees in my shop, which is pretty much on the borderline of the temperatures you can use this finish in. So we're going to stick my heater over here, try to get a little bit more warm air circulating around this bowl, and I think we should be fine. So we're going to apply this first coat with the lathe not spinning, just to make sure we get everything covered. Wow, that's looking really nice already. Just applying it with a microfiber towel. Oh wow. I'll have to get some nice close-up shots of this as soon as I'm done. Just going to do a nice thin coat for the first coat. Don't want to get too thick. And wow, yeah, you can see all of the segments, and that walnut rim just looks really, really sharp on there. I love how it makes that cherry look nice and golden. And we'll go ahead and do the outside as well. And so while our first coat on the bowl is drying, let me show you what we're going to be doing with the armor seal. So I recently made this really cool lathe bench with some extra fancy walnut drawer fronts, and I left them unfinished on purpose because I was going to use this armor seal to finish every one of them and see how it works. So I've slightly pulled out all my drawers just to make it easier to get the edges. We're going to put a very light coat on, come back, and we'll put a second coat on later. This finish is looking really nice on that walnut. I'm not even going to bother getting the back edge of it, just because you'll never see it and I don't want it to get all over my actual drawer. So only going to be doing the edges and the fronts. And I am going to do the bottom of it though. Yeah, that looks really, really nice. Awesome finish. Can't wait to see how it turns out. So it has actually been 24 hours since we put our first coat of finish on the bowl. Now we're just going to use some 1,000 grit paper and sand the entire bowl before we put our second coat on. And our second coat's going on. And since this coat did not soak into the wood nearly as much as the first coat, and it's kind of just sitting on top of the first coat, I'm going to leave the lathe running for a little bit just so it can get tacky before I stop the lathe, because I don't want it all to pool in the bottom of the bowl. And just like the bowl, I've given the drawers 24 full hours to dry. Now we're going to sand them with 1,000 grit paper, and we'll put a second coat of armor seal on. So guys, the second coat is completely dry, and I'm here in the house just because it got too cold out in the shop for the finish to dry. So I'm going to carry my bowl back outside, get that on the lathe, get the finish on that, and let that spin for a little bit like last time, and then I'll bring it in the house. The drawers, however, I don't want to have to carry them all back out to the shop, so I'm going to leave them in here for the third coat and finish them in here. I got to tell you guys, this finish is looking really, really sharp on this bowl. So guys, it's been about 14 hours since I put the third and final coat of Armor Seal in these drawers, and they're pretty much dry enough, so I brought them all out to the shop, and they look really, really nice. It really brings out the grain in that walnut, and I love how oil-based finishes look on walnut. The bowl is also dry. The third and final coat of wood bowl finish that we put on it is dry, so let's bring it out here and let's check it out. So guys, I just parted our segmented bowl off the lathe, and this thing turned out incredible. The finish is really, really nice, a nice even shine across the whole thing. And I've given it about 3 days to dry, just so that way when I part it off I don't get any sawdust in the finish or anything that would make it rough or bumpy. So guys, I think both of these projects turned out incredible. I really like the way that the General Finishes wood bowl finish colors that cherry. It just brings out that grain so much. It's awesome. And I really liked how the Armor Seal treats that walnut and gives it a really nice rich look. And I love the way walnut looks, like I said, with an oil-based finish. Thanks again to General Finishes for sending out a quart of their wood bowl finish and a quart of their Armor Seal. I really enjoyed working with you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And as usual, guys, if you like what you see and you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. I've got a lot of really cool projects coming up in the spring, like a DIY solar kiln and possibly a DIY chainsaw sawmill, which I think is going to be awesome. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of those videos. I'll see you guys next week.